What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, just in case you've missed Rob Ellam's semi-final against Labrynth at the UK Nationals, then here it is for you. Don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it.
Advantage to be had by Branded a little bit by this point, since it's very likely he knows what his opponent's playing, and so I feel like I want to say Gimmick Puppet seems somewhat redundant.
Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people talking about the Labrynth deck and saying I'm a bit scared of Branded because Branded does so much going first. But again, most people I've heard talking about the Labrynth deck recently have been playing the Furniture version, which more or less just lets your opponent do what they want to do. It has quite targeted and limited interruptions. Whereas this version of Labrynth, it can banish your opponent's entire field, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow, that's just incredible. That's like a D-draw almost. I'm going to trigger the Mercurier here off of this Allure of Darkness now to get a search, so that's really powerful.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice opening. You just get a free +1, and then, like, if you're searching Albion, the Shrouded Dragon, which we aren't, you get to send Fallen of Albaz and draw a card for free. So it's like a free Foolish Burial for free. Everything's free. You know, you get a free card in the grave, free
Big
draw.
sale on today for this Branded deck. All right, we pick up Cartesia from the Mercurier here, and yeah, we're trying to go into our Branded Fusion as always. Do you think there's like a different line you take when you know you're playing against the Trap deck? Is there any particularly good fusions you want to go into?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know. I guess the key interaction that Branded has against Labrynth is Guardian Chimera, right? So you can do it in your opponent's end phase, and depending on how many monsters you use from the field, you can destroy spells and traps equal to that number. So that's a nice way of interacting with your opponent. Outside of that, I don't know how much access to spell and trap removal the Branded deck has. So I guess it's just maybe it's a game of put up a huge field of monsters and see what your opponent can do about it. Because again, trap decks, they have the challenge of shutting down your opponent's monster effects, but they also have to deal with all of the bodies that you leave on the field. So, I mean, I guess this Labrynth deck is more than capable of that with Simultaneous Equation Cannon.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing to be worried about, the Simultaneous Equation. We've got the Brandon High Spirits that was used with Saranir. That's going to get you Albion, and then we're going to send the Retribution with the Albion from the deck to the graveyard. And next up, we've got a Branded Opening now. So this is going to be able to add or special summon from the deck here. Discarding an Albaz, that's not too bad. And,
yeah, you got a little bit of everything in the graveyard.
Here's Alibert being taken out the deck here. Probably going to special summon it. No, actually going to just add it to the hand here. Is there a difference between special summoning and normal summoning Alibert? Is there an advantage to that?
So if you don't have another normal summon and you want to get... So you have to get the Albaz in the graveyard first if you want to special summon Cartesia. And then the nice thing is if you summon Alibert while you have Cartesia on the field, then your opponent can't imperm it, right? Because then you could just chain the Cartesia to fuse.
That's really smart, yeah.
I mean, another way around would just be to normal summon the Cartesia. Oh. That's a torrential tribute.
Arias being responded to with a set torrential tribute now. And now we're going to activate torrential tribute on the summon of Cartesia.
That is...
Is that a bit preemptive, or what are we doing it so early for, do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, maybe he's just thinking that I can stop Rob from getting access to Branded Fusion at all. One thing to keep in mind is that we do, because the opening protects fusion monsters, right? So you can just banish it at resolution to protect your fusion monster. So that's really heads up from Rob there. And that was 2 cards Lewis played into basically nothing, right? It just didn't do anything.
That was a bit of a misstep, surely, right?
I mean, as I said, I don't know how you were supposed to use that torrential tribute in a more fruitful way, because you're always going to have that opening in the graveyard to protect your fusion monsters. So maybe he thought I'd better get it down before Rob's summoned a bunch of fusion monsters, but Cartesia is a quick effect.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty rough there on Lewis's part. As we, on resolution, we're going to use the Grand Ganal here. That's going to send.
Yeah, and now we're definitely going to have access to Branded Fusion, right? Because of that Shrouded Dragon in the graveyard, you can send a Branded Fusion from your deck to the graveyard and return the Albion to the bottom of your deck. And the tricky thing about Branded is they just add back so many cards in the end phase. You're going to get one from Albion. This Aluba is going to search. It could search a Branded Fusion now as well if you wanted. Like you just end up with so much stuff, even though like it has to dump all of its hand at the get-go. Like it doesn't really matter because everything just seems to keep coming back to you again and again.
Yeah, so many graveyard resolutions in this deck here. So the big setup of trying to go for the Guardian Chimera in Lewis's end phase, I think, is I suppose like the game plan here. He's going to use the Albion. Is it not once per turn? Is it one effect per turn or something?
He didn't actually use the other effect. He fused with Cartesia.
Didn't he use the Albion to send the Retribution earlier?
No, that was discarded off something else. I can't remember if it was the opening maybe that discarded it.
Oh, was it discarded from the Brandon High Spirit? I don't think the High Spirit can discard Retribution.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. What does High Spirit send?
It sent the Saranir from the hands.
Oh, okay. Then Saranir was what sent the Retribution. There you go.
I see. Okay. All right. And yeah, here's Retribution adding back. Got Albaz in the grave as well. Granganol on the field. Branded lost as well, right?
Yeah, that's a branded loss.
Yeah.
So Branded Fusion going to resolve.
And it's a shame that lost stops any kind of negating on your fusion monsters, except specifically the Ash Blossom when it's the effective fusion summon. That's like the one card that you would like to resolve here, but Lewis not playing that card. It's all traps here. But yeah, unfortunately, because the branded opening specifically was opened in the... Hey, oh, whoa, see what I did there? The Torrential Tribute is really redundant in this situation because I think what you would want to do, like potentially, is... You know, something like Branded Fusion activates, and then you go into Labellion or Albion, and then on activation of that, you go with the Arias.
Yeah.
To set the Torrential, then Resolution, you can hit like 3 big fusion monsters. But yeah, it wouldn't be useful because of the branded opening, so...
Yeah, that's completely correct. And this branded lost as well is another way of playing around Torrential Tribute, because while it's in play, your opponent can't activate any effects on the summon of a branded, or on the summon of a fusion summon.
Yeah, literally turns them into god cards. You know, you can't activate cards on some of them, yeah? Yeah.
Just have to mirror force them, right?
Yeah, they do lose to that. Was that a Mercurial we picked up? I think we have a second off of the Lost search.
Yeah, Lost. It's a nice card to pick up off Branded Lost because it just gives you an extra negation for your opponent's next turn. It's kind of one of the few cards that's like more interruptions rather than follow-up. I mean, follow-up's always great, but I suppose you'd rather pick an interruption. I think you kind of have enough follow-up with the branded deck.
We got a lot going on here in the end phase. I think there's a Titanic Clad and an Albion still to resolve. The Mirror Jade could be used here just to banish the Aliber and send something else into the grave from the extra, but I'm not really too sure what other fusions you could really want to do at this point, because I feel like Mirror Jade is not going to put in too much work against Labrynth.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, it's quite tricky to get good value out of it when your opponent doesn't have too many monsters. One upside of it is that it can banish without targeting. So a Lady of the Silver Castle is protected from... it can't be targeted while you control a set spell or trap, but that doesn't bother the Mirror Jade.
Looks like we got a Branded in red set there during the end phase, plus the Quem coming out from the Titanic Clad in the end phase, so much good setup here from Rob, and yeah, basically just laughing at this Torrential Tribute. It essentially did nothing, so this is going to be kind of rough, I feel like, on Lewis's part to come back from this. He's going to need to have a really good hand to beat this, and also another branded opening is sent to the graveyard here for the fusion destruction protection, which is typically how you try and out cards in Labrynth, is with Lady Pop, Welcome Pop, although he's not actually playing that, so might just have to be Simultaneous Equation or bust here.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Maybe, like, you know, it's gutting, because if that Torrential had been a trap trick or a
just picks up his
cannon,
cards.
tricks like using Branded Lost, it's probably definitely got to be on Rob's radar if he wants to win the game.
All right, no disruption here coming out just yet. It's very likely that both players are going to be lacking on hand traps. They are just playing pure engine for engine as we activate this Ariana here. And, well, your options are get to one of your welcomes if you don't have one or the other. You got Kuklok if you really want to go for some first turn plays. He is side decking it. But again, you're going to have Arias or Kuklok in that situation. I suppose Arias sort of like does the same thing in a way anyway.
Yeah, I'm sort of interested what the Kuklok is for when you've got Arias anyway, because Kuklok has a specific advantage that you can, if you've got a furniture piece, then it sets it from the deck, so you couldn't use Arias to do that. But Lewis isn't actually running either of the furniture pieces anyway, so I don't really know what it does over and above the Arias.
Essentially just more copies to try and play turn 1 here, as you can see, is acting as somewhat of a combo deck here. So we activate the big welcome to special summon. Unfortunately, we don't have a lady in the hand here to try and combo it to get a dimensional barrier out of the deck.
Well, you say that, but
You
Lovely
can still do it, yeah.
reset the trap trick,
Yeah.
and the trap trick can go and fetch a dimensional barrier.
And
So
snipe out the hand here as well. Let's see if we can hit something juicy.
2 tries.
It
First to
is
6.
a Albion. It's like probably the worst one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a kind of draw, isn't it? Because if the Albion's in the grave when it uses its effect, you don't get to draw a card. So if it's in the hand, you do get to draw a card. So it's kind of worth a random draw.
4 set cards here with the trap trick in the middle column. So keep a track of that. Let's see if Rob has got something for this here. Looks like we're just going to go standby phase here. All right, we might go for Ariana into Lady rather. And then that's going to put Lady on the field so that any other trap we activate can be chained by the Lady. To then set another trap from the deck and just keep the ball rolling. So I think this is going to be quite difficult to beat this. You really are going to need some kind of like blowout here. And I think preempting this is all well and good because it just allows you to potentially play around the possibility of a lightning storm. So you do want to get all of these down ASAP.
Is that a trap trick?
Yeah, it's the trap trick that was reset here.
Oh,
Oh,
and an
Chain Eradicator.
Okay, I was going to say, committing to only one trap straight off the bat is possibly a bit dangerous, but
You only need D-Barrier. Oh, Chain. Is that branded opening?
that is branded
Yeah,
opening.
okay. So calling spells here and tributing it for cost.
Oh, and you get to chain now.
The
Arias as well.
yeah. When you respond to a trap card, you get to use the Arias to bring it back to the field for free.
A lot of chains
Thrust
going
is
on.
gone. Okay.
Well, the thrust was about to get
discarded,
destroyed
sorry, yeah.
by the Eradicator. So I guess maybe this... I mean, just you get the barrier, and then what do you do? Like, your opponent's just going to activate barrier. You don't have any spells either, so, like, it seems very difficult to deal. You have to deal with the Lovely, otherwise you're going to be facing the same problem again
yeah,
next
exactly.
turn.
Just again, it's going to be the same issue.
Absolute back and forth like demolitions here. Like,
Yeah, just these huge bombs like this are incredible because you just wow. That's a fusion duplication. Love that. Yeah, so this is what I was saying about the Eradicator play. Like, yeah, you can hit spells, but if you just get another spell outside of like simply drawing it in your opening hand, it's not going to be too great. So in some respects, like, yeah, you can wait for your opponent to play a little bit, but you risk them just slapping down the branded fusion, or you also risk them having lightning storm, which means your trap trick isn't going to be able to do anything because, yeah, you get the D barrier, but then it immediately goes to the graveyard. So you have to kind of fire all of this off preemptively.
yeah, the fusion duplication is not really something Lewis wants to see, right? Because if you get hit with the... You have to activate the dimensional barrier on your turn to prevent your opponents... On their turn, even, to prevent their branded fusion that's probably going to get added by an Alaba. Then you also... Then your opponent can try again on their own turn. But I think he's now got 2 dimensional barriers, right? Because one got set with Lady, and one got set with Trap Trick.
Yes, I'm very sure dimensional barrier is once per turn.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You need one for your turn,
Oh,
and
yeah,
one for
yeah,
your
I see what
opponent's
you're
turn.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really need to activate 2 dimensional barriers in a turn, unless you want to shut your opponent off of fusions and synchros and
I like calling
XYZs.
pendulum with it sometimes just for the sake of it, if you don't need it. Chain of Paleo in the graveyard just to get the bodies going. That's a different deck. Anyway, yeah, Rob's in a really tough spot here. I mean, it's just D-Barrier by itself. There's not really anything else you can say about this. It's very difficult. Chaining something to the D-Barrier would be really helpful, like a Brandon Red, but we know that's not possible. We've already ripped out all of the spells from the hand with the Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Cartesia could put in a little bit of work, potentially.
Well, the thing
But
is,
still,
you
D-Barrier.
yeah, you can sneak through a fusion summon, but even if you resolve a fusion summon, the effect of it is negated.
Yeah, so I mean, it's some type of commiseration because we can go Branded Fusion, activate Branded Fusion, chain D-Barrier, chain Cartesia. But again, like you said, your fusion monster is negated, and it doesn't really amount to anything. Can we do anything with the Cartesia potentially? No, just bring back Albaz, but that can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the downsides of Branded. It's just, you are locked into fusions. That's all you're allowed to do for the turn. So, I mean, like other decks here, if you weren't like so completely locked into fusions, you could still do quite a lot of different things, right? You've still got a couple of monsters in play, but Branded, not so much. We are going to get a fusion off here.
Yeah, so as expected, the Cartesia will chain to the D-Barrier to perform a fusion summon. Is there even anything you can make here that's just like bigger than Lovely?
Well, there's only one thing you can make, which
Can you attack under D-Barrier? Is it just effects that's negated?
You can attack under D-Barrier. I'm not sure. Is that that doesn't look like
That's a Koratis, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen that for a while, actually. I'm not sure it's like super relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got the Quirtle, like, it's been negated, so its effect's going to be negated, and I think it starts at 2,800 attack. Oh, yeah, I think...
We've caught something here.
I don't know if you can hear the crowd at home, but a lot of players in the crowd was
You
shouting,
can't chain the Cartesia to the Lovely, of course. Yeah, you can't respond to the D-Barrier.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's so easy to forget that one, but it's that innocent line of text saying your opponent can't use monster effects to respond to your normal traps. You don't normally think about it with D-Barrier, but
yeah,
it is indeed a normal trap, so it cannot be responded to.
Yeah, that's terrifying, isn't it? It's spell speed for D-Barrier in a way, huh? That's really something special there.
Well, you can respond to, counter traps.
Yeah, sure.
Not with monster effects, though.
Oh, no, that is... yeah, that was maybe the one thing you could do here was the Cartesia chain into the Koratis, but no, that's really rough.
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to just have that second D-Barrier. There's just going to be an infinite wave of dimensional barriers, because the Lovely's just going to set one back again. Even if you have a branded fusion for every turn, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, so you get to use the Lovely again here.
Oh, that's the Butler being used to special summon Ariana. I guess it has to still be in the main phase because you can only use it in the main phase. I can't see what's being added. I guess would be a lady.
Yeah, it looks like Lady's being special summoned as well on top of all of this here. One of them is in the graveyard that was tributed for the Eradicator. And don't forget, we do get to see the next draw as well, if it's a spell, potentially.
Oh, is that a big welcome? Wow, you get so much under this trap trick. You can't use traps, but you can use trap card effects. So, goodbye, Cartesia. Have we used the Lovely to pop this turn? I don't think we have, so...
Just double-checking the text on Trap Trick there to make sure that it isn't usable from the grave, but yeah,
so Lovely just
work.
to pop that set.
Yeah, hit the last back row here as well in the end phase. Picks up his cards and scoops Rob versus Lewis. Branded versus Labrynth.
Is this a matchup you expected to see in the semifinals?
I'm not surprised by anything anymore when it comes to national championships. We've got Plants over in the final in Germany. We've got Plants in top 4 over here.
Yeah, but I mean,
Snake Eye is getting eliminated slowly but surely. So I don't know. I'm just surprised there hasn't been that many Tenpai deeper into Top Cut, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the UK, so Plants to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
Snake Eye, I'd say, to be expected. But Lab and Branded. 2 super cool decks.
Here's a foolish Burial here, sending Tragedy to get a search off of our Despia card. What was that banished off of Allure of Darkness?
That's a Shaddoll
It
Dragon.
is a Shaddoll Dragon. Okay, yeah, we brought that in going first. That's cool. Yeah, all right. Not choosing to set the Shaddoll Dragon and bounce a Lovely to the hand, I suppose.
not going to be super helpful in the banished zone, but you can get it back. Maybe you could summon a window with it, you know, with
Window against Labrynth seems
seems very helpful in case they have welcome and big welcome, you see?
Yeah, absolutely. Fusion deployment, getting Cartesia from the deck here, plus your normal summon Aliber. Means you can dodge Imperm or Veiler if necessary. It's going to get your branded fusion. And let's see what Rob decides to end on versus Labrynth here. Now remember, the key play, as you saw in Game 1, is just putting up all of those big fusion monsters. And most important of all, getting to Branded in Red, which is the card that you can activate in the end phase to tear apart a lot of that back row here. So unless Lewis is, gosh, I don't know, drawing Arias with something a little bit more relevant here, it could work. But just looking at his hand and thinking deeply about
life,
his next turn, about his life.
How did I get to this moment? Yeah.
Where have we been? Yeah, good questions. Does the fridge light turn off when you close it? All right, here's Lebellion discarding and just putting up more bodies here as we return Albaz to the deck.
Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzle here. If you've been playing Branded for a long time, maybe you know what you're supposed to be doing against Labrynth, but it is a bit tricky because I don't think your standard field is necessarily what you want against them, but maybe you just do it anyway and accrue a bunch of advantage, gain, you know, so much gas for next turn. Just say to your opponent, right, you've got to have a perfect hand to beat this. You've got to deal with all of my monsters, and you've got to do -2 back row with this Guardian Chimera.
Rob has opened really well here. I mean, you're getting like a huge setup, and you couldn't, I suppose, really ask for more past this point because it's looking like you've got everything you need here with the Branded Lost on the field as well. And again, that all-important fusion summoning window preventing any cards or effects going to be used on Lewis's turn whenever Rob does another fusion summon, most likely, is truly devastating. So a lot to fight through here, and we're going to have some very powerful purple cards going second to try and fight through this one.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's just got so much right now. He's got the Branded Search off the Branded Lost. He's going to send another card off of Grand Guignol. He's got to set that Branded in Red on the end phase of Albion. He's going to add the Cartesia to his hand off Albion. He's going to use Titaniclad now to special summon, most likely a Guiding Quem. He's going to have a massive field. And even if Lewis manages to deal with it, he'll probably have another one coming right back at him.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to say that you can do all of these, huge plays and making big field presences, but more importantly, sometimes it's the follow-up, isn't it? Because you can deal with a field, Snake Eye, for example, a deck that players can fight through with somewhat of a respectable hand, can beat it, but then you just have to deal with the follow-up, and I think that's where a lot of the power of some of these decks come from, is the ability to stick powerful fields like this onto the field, and then also maintain the ability to clap back on turn 3. Going for a Branded Retribution here as a counter trap, being really important into this matchup, turning off any normal trap and being unable to be responded to because of the spell speed 3 nature.
Yeah, I mean, that's really neat from Rob, actually. I like, instead of getting a Branded in Red, I mean, maybe he's already got a Branded in Red or a Fusion Duplication, going for that counter trap, which is kind of a luxury. I don't think many times you actually get it set up with the Branded deck, but if you can do it, if you've got all your engine, you can convert it into extra interaction with your opponent. Like, absolutely, why not?
Yeah, all right, and it looks like that's our final Fusion Search and Resolution there as we set and add and special during the end phase from all of our powerful graveyard effects in the Fusion monsters. So now it's Lewis's turn here, 6 cards in hand, did not draw any Ariases or something to play on Rob's turn. So we'll see if we can do anything. Most importantly, just to try and beat this Branded in Red. I think that's the most important factor here because it's going to be so deadly when he passes turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we doing it like during the
preempting
phase?
it?
Yeah.
That's
maybe Lewis went to his battle phase? That's all I could think of. But like,
do you think so?
Surely you would just be negating evenly matched with Branded Retribution every time, right? So
yeah, I mean, you do have the means to do that.
I don't know what else would force it out. Maybe this is it. Maybe it is a battle phase, and you use the Sanctifier Dragon to give your opponent a monster and prevent evenly matched.
Now, this isn't a bluff. We do know that, well, I mean, it could be a bluff, but at least we do know that Lewis plays evenly matched. So there's a chance that this is actually a card in his hand here, but opting to go for the Sanctifier Dragon, since you can give your opponent a monster, and that's going to turn off evenly matched.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, do you think Lewis is just bluffing? If you're Rob, do you prefer to hold the Branded in red because it's a good way of dealing with spells and traps, or do you prefer to hold onto the Branded Retribution in case of evenly matched?
I mean, the only thing it loses to is like double evenly, I guess, if you Retribution.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, I don't know, do you want to risk that? That's the question, I suppose, but I feel like Branded Retribution is fine here because, gosh, imagine this is a bluff, you know? Like, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the end of the world. It's not like Rob's got no value out of this, right? He appears to have summoned about 5 monsters to both sides of the field, so I guess it's not like completely optimal because he's not destroyed all the spells and traps that he could have destroyed, but it's definitely not nothing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with a monster on the field here, if Lewis does actually have an evenly in match, that's going to be pretty upsetting, but I'm just wondering if there's a way to clear this. I do see a spell. I think that will most likely be a Flashing Fire. Unfortunately, you can't destroy your own cards with Flashing Fire.
Probably doesn't have any links to make use of this Albion either.
Well, assuming there's, the timing here is correct, I would most likely expect this to be the start step of the battle phase. And so you do have the opportunity on Rob's side to activate these cards, unless Sanctifier is main phase only? I don't think so.
No, Sanctifier is just a quick effect. People do it in the standby phase all the time, I think.
So even if there was a way to try and out your own Albion here, it's just a lot harder when it's done during the battle phase. So most likely this is going to be main phase 2. And we have an Ariana coming down here.
Yeah, I would think this is main phase 2.
Mercurier, that was added from last turn, I believe.
Does Lewis run SP, or is his entire deck dedicated to
the simultaneous?
Yeah.
Wow, he actually doesn't have an SP here.
Probably like one of the few players in the room not having an SP in their extra deck.
Yeah, that's a good point. SP could have been quite useful here, but now we're going to set 3 and go to the end phase, and this is where things could get a little spicy, but I'm not too sure if we've got too much we can do here because we had to fire off that Branded in red.
Yeah, and it's only a Branded Retribution, so maybe you're just using the Mirror Jade in the end phase. Because I don't really see what... I mean, you could hold it in case of a Welcome or something like that.
A little bit still to come, I suppose. Banishing the Ariana with the Mirror Jade here. That's going to send Brigand from the extra deck to the grave. Or is that Lenitus?
I'm not sure.
I doubt it's Lenitus, right?
What's that end phase effect?
Of Brigand. Let's have a look.
Brigand the Glory Dragon.
Add or special a Tri-Brigade or Fallen of Albaz from deck here.
So a Mercurier or an Albaz.
Unless I'm completely wrong here and I can't see the card correctly and it actually is a Lenitus.
I think Lenitus is quite popular because you can set it and answer a field of
Dragonlink monsters.
Dragon Links or just Hope Harbingers, Flamberges.
You think so?
Bit of everything, yeah.
Okay.
I think he added a fusion spell, the fusion deployment.
Yeah, it's definitely not Brigand actually. Yeah, they look very similar. It's actually Alba Lenitus he's got in his deck list here. Yeah, so that is definitely a Lenitus, which is going to add a normal fusion spell from deck or grave.
And now that Rob's given his opponent an Albion, he's going to use it as a fusion material, which is a bit impolite, in my opinion. I think, if you give your opponent a monster and then you fuse with it.
Discarding the Mercurier, going to fuse with this. We got D-barrier. Wait, no, you can't D-barrier. Can you? In response to the...
Yeah, you can.
Because of Lost? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Lost just prevents the...
negated.
Yeah. I think it just prevents activations from being negated. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Actually not fusing with the... Wait, no, so we are fusing with the Albaz.
No, that was a fusion with...
with the Cartesia, yeah.
With the Cartesia.
Mm-hmm.
A Boral Load... Is it Boral Load or is it just Boral Savage?
It's Furious Dragon.
It's Furious Dragon.
Which can now pick apart more back row here, which is really powerful.
Yeah, well, I can't this turn, but...
Yes. Oh, is it not on the turn it's summoned?
No, it's just not
on
the
because
turn.
of the
You
barrier.
activate the Bestial Barrier.
Yeah. So we still get the body on the field here. We should be able to just out our own Albion in defense, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rob's just like overflowing with cards at the moment. Sometimes you just end up with so many cards you don't even know what to do with all of them.
I know. I mean, you want to tribute summon at this point? If you really want. I'm going to send the branded opening to the graveyard here with Albion, which is very important to prevent destruction effects of our fusions.
Yeah, no Mirror Force here.
Yeah, I mean, you say Mirror Force, but we did see Torrential in game 1, so I mean that's something you got to pay attention to.
And here we go, everything into attack mode.
You just love when like the motion comes down of just 3 monsters switching in rapid succession into attack mode here. Okay, this is an attack declaration. Succeeds by attacking over the Albion. Now it's time for Lewis to do something here because.
Has he got some simultaneous equations to do in his head? What do you reckon? It's the only card I can think of.
I mean, yeah, that's it, right? Like, are we holding off for it? It's time. I mean, it can't be, right? Like, surely you just fire that off like immediately. Do the equation later.
I mean, Welcome doesn't really help because there's too many big monsters on the field.
A chump block's enough for you to live, but. Yeah, I mean, it's going to put you in a pretty... Oh, wow, okay, just...
So you see, that's where the trouble began. That smile. That damn smile.